Good morning, everyone. Everybody online. Full house today, in it. In that box. What is it? I don't know. Glad you guys are tuned in this morning. I still can't find that teacher's book. Arthur. I don't even know if Junior gave me the new one. He's usually the one that gives it to me. Is there a piece of paper right there? Ask John. All you guys online that are watching, little card. I'm gonna be. This is what I was reading this morning. We'll just go with what this is. Kind of. Being Genesis 37, 1 through 13 is what I read this morning. uh, well, yeah, we can go there. John, we shut that door, please. We'll go ahead and open with the word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just come to you, Lord, and just give thanks for the safe travels here for me and my family, Lord, all those that are here, those that are on their way. Lord, I ask you to give them safe travels as we have a little rain moving in, Lord. Those that couldn't make it for whatever reason, Lord, be with them, minister to them, Lord, comfort them, whatever it is that they're going through. Those online, Lord, just watch over them, bless them, Lord, help us to minister to them, Lord. They've tuned in to hear your word. Remove me from the situation, Lord. Give me the words to speak. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, just I ask, God, that you just give us a good day here at church. Be with my brother here as he brings a message later. Lord, for all those that are still on the way, give them safe travels. All these things we're asking in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. So, any of you that kind of know me, like Arthur, and my church family, of course, I guess that's about it. My church family and my immediate family. We've kind of had a rough stretch, my little family. Just not like, I don't say rough, real bad. We just had a few things that seemed like they went wrong. I got in the wreck, and then the reason why we bought the little cars is so I could drive back and forth, of course, better on gas mileage, but just to keep miles down on my big truck. um, I have a big F-250 Super Duty diesel, so it's kind of expensive. Of course, the fuel is expensive. It's expensive to maintain them, this and that. So the reason why we bought the little cars is one, save gas, two, save my truck. Well, we got in a wreck, um, and uh, totaled the car, so we're going through the insurance stuff on that. So I've been driving the big truck, um, just to get back and forth to work and hopefully till this insurance stuff gets squared away. Well, a week ago, I guess it would say Thursday, this past Thursday, a week ago, I blew the motor in my truck on the way home. So that's going to be a really expensive bite because that'll be all out of pocket. It's paid off. Um, has a lot of stuff done to it, upgrades or whatever. So that's voids warranty, insurance, whatever won't pay for that. So that's out of pocket. So we kind of put that on the back burner because we know we need a house and a new family car, this and that. So we're trying to focus on what we need to do and not what's happening. This or that, and then our storage gets broken into. And I still don't know what all was stolen. Baseball equipment, hunting stuff, my crossbow. Um, I believe one of Isaac John's little compound bows was stolen, and some bunch of arrows and stuff. Just a bunch of stuff we don't quite know yet because there was things gone through. One particular tub must have been some good stuff in it because the tub's there, the lid's off, and it's completely empty. I don't know if they didn't need a tub, that they needed whatever was in it. So we just had one thing, here after another. Even out going back, going to work. It just seems like we're just going through this or we're going through that, and I was ask everyone here, Arthur, brothers, they're getting ready for music, but has anyone ever not had to go through things? Do you know anyone that's just had smooth sailing? Everything's went their way. Um, never had a loss of anything or loss of a family member or just things like that. I don't know anybody, but out there online, I doubt anyone that's never went through things. So, I'm actually just reading the whole story of Joseph. This is just where I read today. I guess we can give a recap. Joseph, he was the youngest, right? of Zeb, is it Zebediah. He was the youngest of 11 um, siblings, and he had the dreams of being great. That's what I read today is about Joseph's dreams of greatness, and he tells his brothers his dreams and that they're going to bow down to him and the stars and everything's going to bow down to him. And they don't like it. So they plot against him. They make plans to kill him. And then one says, "No, let's not kill him. Throw him in the pit. The others, they'll die in there. Let's not do that. Let's uh, send him on." They put him on a slave caravan to Egypt. Well, finds favor by the grace of the Lord. And um, Potiphar buys him as a slave. He comes and he does good there, finds favor. Potiphar watches him. Anytime you let someone new into your house, you kind of always keep an eye on them, right? You always kind of new visitors or new, I always I guess have, probably always will. We notice just new people in your home or whatever. So he watched him as anyone would, a new person in your home that's maybe going to be there for a while or now works for you. Like when I would have my helpers, when I used to run the tree service, my helpers would come over, um, for lunch, and it would fix lunch for us, or sometimes we would fix supper. I would cook out, and we would watch football after Saturday. We'd do a job Saturday morning, finish the job Saturday morning, and I would have them over to the house, and we would cook out. Hey, if we go knock this out today instead of waiting till Monday morning, if we get it done today, I'll cook steaks. We watch the football, so they would come over. So, but still, you invite someone in your home, but still you watch them. They're a new person in your house, in your castle, whatever it is. My dad always told me, no matter how big it is, it's your castle. No matter how big, how much it costs, how much little it costs, how much it's not worth to anyone, that's yours, and you protect it. You treat it as so. So anyone new came into my home around my wife and my kids, I for sure watched their mannerisms. How they carried themselves. Just this or that. So obviously, he's going to watch him, and he finds favor in Potiphar's eyes. How? What caused him to find favor? Um, the way he carried himself, the way he was faithful to his God, even though he has been through all of these things. His brothers hated him so much because of the dreams he told. Instead of being happy for him or this or that, because he was the youngest. They hated him. They plotted against him, and that they got rid of him. And the Lord obviously showed favor by not allowing him to be put to death by his brothers, not allowing him to be cast in the pit and eaten by a lion. Still by his brothers. He allowed him, which sounds crazy, to be put on the caravan and sent off away from his homeland, away from his family, away from them, away from his father and mother and everything that he knew, to become a slave. But and people kind of look at that like, how's that favor? Well, it's a lot better than being dead. To be I guess to be alive and have a fighting chance is better than being just killed. So he's found favor there. He's now put over all of Potiphar's business, everything, the house, his businesses, everything that he does, except for the wife, obviously. Well, then he's everything's going good. He's living a good life for a slave. He's living a very, very good life, comfortable life. Really, he's probably not even considered much of a slave anymore because he's been put over everything. He has to answer to Potiphar, but he's the man. Kind of like the vice president now. He's the guy. Even though he goes through all of this and he finds favor and he finds a position of authority, a position of that people probably envy, and people probably say, why is that slave there? How did that slave get there? That's just like us. Anything that we do, there's people for some odd reasons that dislike Arthur. There's people for very obvious reasons that probably dislike me. There are but that has never bothered me, which is probably one of the reasons why they dislike me. I just it is what it is. But there's just different things. There's things that we go through. There's things that people probably plot or say things against us. Being from a small town, that happens. Being Indian, that happens. People they gossip, they talk about, they plot against you. They want ill or whatever it is against you because we're doing something. And why? What are those people usually doing? Whether they're being successful, one, maybe the jealousy comes in maybe when they get a new home, whenever they get a new job. Oh, why do they get that job? I've said it. Maybe they're not. You say something along the lines. Maybe they're not qualified for that job. Instead of being happy for that person to get a job to maybe better their lives or better their kids' lives or get themselves out of a house that's not so nice, not so good for their kids or themselves or whatever it is that they're going through, instead of being happy for them to do those things, we groan against them, right? These stories, you can always place these stories into our lives now. And it's crazy the thing about, the Bible is you read about these things and they've happened over 2,000 years ago. Well, the Jesus ministry was over 2,000 years ago. Who knows on this, this others, the book of Genesis and things like that. Like, do we really know like how far back these stories are? No, we take them by faith that no matter how far back they are, they're still true. But they still reign true today. He had 11 brothers, that was plotting against him. And you can probably go to Pawnee and count a whole lot more than 11 that plot against me for various reasons. And I guarantee you some of the reasons that they plot against me is because I don't live the old life. I am right here this morning trying to teach Sunday school, and they don't want it there. They don't want to see me succeed, or they don't want to see someone leave that life, or they definitely don't want to see someone turn away from the world and start talking about Jesus and the truth of Jesus and what Jesus can do for you and how this book over 2,000 years ago still reigns true today. They don't want to see those kind of things for whatever reason. No one, we don't know. That's just human nature. It's human nature that his brothers were jealous, were mad, were driven to the point where they wanted to get rid of him. Well, rather than ride this out and see if little brother's dreams come true, which if my little brother came and told me that, well, even any of my little brothers, I got 4 little brothers. If any of them would have came and told me that, it's crazy. First of all, you're the baby of the family. You guys, I always tease them. I said, from me to you, my youngest little brother's Garrett. I said, from me to you, but they turned down that tough dial a lot. I said, you're way down here, 2 or 3. So the rest of us, and they, I crack up. I said, that means all of y'all, are just not as tough as me. That's how I take, because I say that because all of my little brothers are bigger than me. I'm the oldest, but I'm the smallest. I'm the big little brother, and I'm the big older brother, and they're my big little brothers. That's what I tell them all, because they're all bigger than me. I tell you guys know that, they dialed that toughness down. That's what I would have told my little brother. Are you crazy? You're out of your mind. Ain't nobody gonna, this or that. If anything, now hopefully I wouldn't have, plotted to kill him or get rid of him. Get him out away from completely away from the family. But I guess that was their way. That was what, instead of worshiping their brother, falling to their knees, bowing to their little brother, they would just rather get rid of him. And there's still probably some, today that would do that. But my question, like I said, do you know anyone that's never went through these things? Do you know anyone that's never lost a family member? Do you know anyone, that's never had hardship at work or this or that, with friends, that's never been betrayed by a friend? And I had plenty of them that I thought were friends that they didn't so much betray me, but when things started turning bad for me and I started trying to change my life, they just vanished. It's not that they said that they couldn't help me or didn't want anything to do with me. It's just they weren't even around to help me. So that let me know right there where they stand. Have you ever known anyone that's went through these kind of things? Because I haven't. But the thing is, when we read these stories and you read them and you try to understand what's going on there, you can place that in your life. I don't know. Do you know a story, Arthur, that you've read that you can't plug right into your life at some point? It's hard for me to find one. It really is. A meaning or a part of it or what the Bible is trying to say. Definitely, we can use in our lives. But you can almost plug yourself right into these stories or bring that story and plug it right into your life. Go ahead, Bill. Your family.
all got stoned, and I could put myself, the greed part of it, and the wanting to take care of stuff in the future,
Mm-hmm.
and then hiding things, and
Mm-hmm.
I could just that's where I kind of added this morning into that. Like I could have been that guy.
Right.
I could have been the. I don't know if I could have been the other people stoning somebody, because that's something hard to do. Is to throw a stone at somebody and hit them with it.
I've done that to my cousins, my brothers, plenty of times.
Yeah. Oh no, I've had walnuts sliced in pieces.
Oh yeah,
I've
walnuts.
had,
Those hurt.
yeah, all those things. But
Yes, that's a.
yeah, I don't know. Just to be in that place, that guy.
What was that guy's name that saved the gold? I'm gonna so I can tell him what. Brother's talking about. He's reading in uh, what did you say? Joshua. About said Jeremiah. About where their the city's about to be under attack, right?
They attack the city.
They
They kill everybody.
killed everyone. They were supposed to turn in the gold, and one man, I can't remember his name. What was his name? He saves the gold. Well, he ends up getting him and his family stoned to death, and
Saves it and hides it.
he was talking about you know, he understands the greed part. He understands why you would put that back, for the future, because we don't know the future's scary. If you think about it, you don't know, what if you're going to be in it, if this or that. The future's scary. That's a good point. Could you, if you was told to take all of your money and put it in, one big basket, for the city or for your town, could you do that? That's a because ultimately you're placing, everything that you've worked for, that you've saved, that you've gathered, for your family in the future with everyone else. That's a you know
The
a
way he hit it,
oh yeah.
he didn't when everybody else didn't, and they did what they were supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this one guy.
I like that. He said that he said they did what they were supposed to,
Yeah, because God told him
because he said
to
because
turn it
God
all in,
told
and
him.
we're gonna burn it all, and we're gonna burn everything, and this is what's gonna happen.
Right.
But this
But
one
could we,
guy,
if God told us to get rid of all everything, tell you clean out your bank account,
yeah,
give everything you got,
doesn't
to someone.
matter.
Yeah, I mean, and
This is what it has to be.
I've talked, about this with my wife. You know, you want I want to leave my kids, with land, with a piece of land, that they own of this earth, and maybe some money, to help with this or that, or just something in the future. That, if I feel like if I can bring them to, to love the Lord, to work hard for them, to love their families, and to leave them a little something to help them and their families, I feel like I did my job. But at the same time, we don't get to keep any of that. They won't keep it. My grandson won't keep what I give my kids and what they give to him and what he gives to his grandkids, or further down the line, if we're even there. So the most important thing that we can give them right now is to love the Lord, to understand, to lean on the Lord, to read. That's part of this, this thing. People say, well, how long are these bad times going to last? Joseph didn't know how. Right now, whenever he's with Potiphar and he's doing the Potiphar's business, that's where he thinks he's going to be. That's it. You know what I mean? And he's being in this time, in this right now, doing the best he can to still be faithful to the Lord, to serve the Lord, and him doing this and them seeing him serve the Lord and still be good, still be a good hearted man, still do his job the best he can, because that's what God wants, right? No matter what we do, if you're a janitor, if you're a maintenance man, if you're, a commissioner of our tribal gaming, or, if you're a retired UCA, whatever we do, the Lord wants us to do our best in everything that we do. He never says it's okay to do half. It's okay to give it half of what so I talk to my football boys. I coached my son's football team. We're 3-1. Um, we won again Saturday, 32-0. That's 32 or 34-0. Isaac John had a pretty good game. I don't like to. I say, I try to tone it down. I'm very, very proud of my son. I don't want anyone to ever think that I'm not, or ever think that he's not a good athlete. But I try not to get a big head. I try not to give him a big head, because I've been there when you run into fellas that are better than you. You run in. There's always someone faster. There's always someone that runs the ball better than us. There's always someone that hits harder than us. And most of the time, that was the guy hitting me that I ran in. You know, what I mean, he literally ran into him. All you know, so there's always someone out there. But my son is very he tries. You know, he's gifted. I don't want to say he don't he's better than this or better than that. My son's salty. He's a salty little running back, and he had a good game Saturday. A really good game. He wrapped off a couple really long yard, touchdown runs, a lot of good, 6 to 8, 12, 15 yard, hard runs. He likes to stiff arm people. He can do the whole juking and jiving thing. He'll have if you ask someone that's come to his game, you ask his up at his aunties and them. He has the crowd ooh and on like you can hear him. It's something as a father to be on the field to watch, but then to hear the reaction, the crowd's like ooh because he's stiff arming people, and he's doing his thing and he loves it. And you tell them, to we have to give our 100% to make those plays work. He can't run half speed and half stick his arm out there to stiff arm somebody and it work. They have to give me 100% every play. That's all I ask for. We don't have to win every play. I just want everything that they got every play. And that's all the Lord asks for us. It's to give him everything we are, everything we have every day. And it's hard sometimes. It's very, very hard. I'm not going to say that it's easy. I'm not going to say that anyone has ever had an easy time. Because like I asked Arthur, I asked you guys, you guys online, you can chime in, you can comment anytime you want to. My little one's watching videos, so I don't have my phone, but Arthur's got his. So we will see it. But no one ever says if you give me half effort, you'll make it. If you try half as hard, you'll be okay. If you fill out half a job application, they're going to give you the job. You only got to fill out half of it. No one ever says that. The Lord doesn't say that either. The Lord doesn't say give me half of your faith. The Lord doesn't say give me half of your family. He doesn't say give me half of your life. Give me the Sunday mornings and the Wednesday nights, but you can have the rest. He doesn't ask for that. He asks for everything. And he asks for all of us every day. Every day is like one of my son's football team's plays. Let's make that as a play for today. Have you given the Lord everything? Have you started your life with the Lord? That is you don't understand that aspect of it until you do it. The beginning of the day with a prayer or just a conversation with the Lord, you will be amazed at how good you feel, honestly. And see, and we was talking about earlier how he has people that don't like him because of this or that. I probably have people that doubt me or this, that for what I'm saying right now because they don't want to see a man of how I used to be sit up here and tell you that if you begin the day with the Lord, you will be amazed at how good you feel. You will be amazed at how good that play runs that day just because you have involved Jesus. You have involved God in everything that you do. That's all he wants. And that's all I ask for my boys. You don't have to be first, but don't be last. And that means everybody's running as hard as they can every play because they don't want to be last, right? They know they're not going to be the first. There's some boys out there that know they're not as fast as Isaac or Tucker or Maverick or, maybe a little Halen Heiner. I got some boys on my football team that a lot of them play baseball for me, so I know they're fast. But, put them on a football field, you see them against, they're fast. So those boys know they're not going to be as fast as them, but they also try their hardest not to be the last one. And I love that. I find great pleasure in that. And, this Saturday, we had some trials. We had some long runs wrapped off, some bad plays, where you make a bad decision, just like in your life, and something, consequence that you didn't want or you didn't need, or you end up somewhere you wasn't trying to be in your life happens. Just like Joseph. He wasn't trying to become a prisoner in Egypt and work for Potiphar, all this and that, and have Potiphar's wife accuse him of what she accused him for and get him thrown in jail, and yet still he serves the Lord. Yet still he's given the Lord everything he can. Every day, every play, everything. And then the jailer finds, mercy, finds, sees what he does, sees how he is with the other prisoners, how he interacts. Because the story, you can imagine, and that's what I try to do, imagine more than what the story tells you. I've been in jail day for day, And you can imagine someone like that, day for day, in there like that, they're going to bring attention not only to themselves, but they're going to bring others into what they're doing. There's either leaders or there's followers in jail. Point blank. You're either a leader or you're a follower. And followers will follow a good leader. And some guys in there, they're all criminals, but they try to do good while they're in there. You know, they don't cause no problems. And some guys will follow that. Other guys will still cause problems like they did in the world. And some guys will follow that. So I can see how his interaction with the other prisoners would cause them to follow him, would cause them, you know, that little plant of a seed of the Lord, you know, that they have, because I've been there whenever I got to go do the jail ministry. I seen guys that probably followed other people, but whenever they seen me, they heard me talk about, I've been here, not just here preaching to you, but I've lived here. I'm one of you that has made it out. I'll always be one of you that has made it out. One of an alcohol, a drug dealer, a gang member, you know, in and out of jail, one that the Lord has found mercy on and given me a better life. But I had to go through those things to get there first. Joseph had to go through these things. No one knows how long they're going to be. We just know that it's long enough for the Lord to work out whatever it is he's working out. Does that make sense? You're going to be there. Whatever trial you're going through, whatever thing you're going through, you're going to be there long enough for the Lord to get done what he wants to get done. Now, granted, maybe sometimes we can cause that to be a little longer, you know, but maybe you needed to be there a little longer. So he worked some things out so you would cause it on yourself. Or maybe like me, like before I come back to the world and I was leaving the Howe Foundation, I was scared. I stayed 2 extra months. It was a 6-month, rehabilitation program. I graduated in my 6 months, but I stayed 2 extra months because I was afraid to come back to the world to what I had been doing. I did not know how to come to the world and be a good person, to be a husband, a father, you know, a good brother. A good son. I didn't know how to do that because for the longest time in my life, I was living on the other side. So whenever you're ready to, you know, they tell you, okay, you're going home on this date. It was December 16th at 5 o'clock is when my mom and my grandma and my little nephew, Charlie Ray, got to pick me up. I didn't want to go home, but I'd already been there 2 months, you know, longer than I was supposed to have been. Because I was afraid to come back to the world. I was afraid to face those demons that I'd been running with all them years because one, I knew I couldn't do it by myself. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I at that point, I knew the Lord. The Lord had got me through this and got me through that, but I didn't know how I was going to face those things in real life. It's easy to face them in a jail cell. It's easy to face them in a rehab where you either you stay here, you do your job, you graduate, or you go to prison. That's easy. I'll tell you firsthand, that's easy. To be in there and be with the Lord. You ain't got nothing else to do. And people probably hate that I say that because they've been there or they know someone that's in there and you don't want to hear that. But sometimes that's what you need to hear. It's easy there. It's when you come back to the real free world. That's whenever you find out whether your faith is real or not. That's whenever you find out everything that you've been reading, is it real or not in you. Those are when the things. And I was afraid of that point. I was afraid of it. And my mom and my grandma, they said, it's going to be okay, you know, son, you're this or that. And he gave me Anna before I come on. We set the date for the 16th of December, 5 o'clock. I could check out. That was my checkout date. Before then, I met that he had brought me Anna. And we started talking, and we was talking about this, and we was talking about that. And, you know, of course, Junior didn't want us together, you know, but we was going to do this anyways. You know, so I felt like I had someone to go through this with, more than, you know, you want something more than just your mother or your sister, if that makes sense. So the Lord brought me her. The Lord prepared me for what I was, you know, about to face in this real world. And it's amazing to me of how he can show favor here and then still, like I said, plug yourself in. I can plug these stories in the Bible. I can plug my life right into these things. That's what got me. You know, these stories, these words are so old. You know, we really don't. I don't know how old exactly, but they're old, over 2,000 years old. But they're still true today, and that amazes me. That It's something, that pulls on you, that, your mind sometimes can't wrap around, that you can't fathom that over 2,000 years ago, these guys went through the same thing I'm going through. A different time, a different way of living, but the same thing. You know what I mean? The same thing. The Lord was still finding favor on people in jail for this or for that. Or he was turning these situations into where he was in prison, but he was, found favor by the jailer. Or, he was a slave and found really good favor by his slave owner. Just different things. And then it shows you that we're not going to be smooth sailing our whole lives, because we still go through things. We still have to have this situation or that situation, and we lose, loved ones. My brother here, his family has, had a loss here recently. So there's, how many people that's affected, not just to the family, but friends, the tribe. Me and my wife was talking about, the Otos. Whenever they have a tribal member pass away, the whole tribe shuts down. I believe it should be so. I do. That's a tribal member. If you come to think about it, those are your people. Who else is? We have our brothers and sisters in Christ, but, I have my Pawnee people. There's not very many of us. There's not. Those are my people. I'm Pawnee. People ask me, what tribes are you? They always say, what tribes are you? And I tell them Pawnee. What else? That's it. I'm half Pawnee. I'm a direct descendant of Ruling, his son. I'm a grandson of William Taft Eves, and I go down my family line. James, Sunnigal Senior, James Archie Sunnigal Jr. I tell them who I'm from. That I'm proud of that. I believe we should take off for those things, because those are, that's our people. We don't have any more of those. Arthur, he's got his Comanche people. He don't have any more of them. They're not, but that's it. If you're Comanche, you're Comanche. And if you're not, you're not. See, so we should pay that respect to them. I don't know what kind of where that came from, but we were talking about, our people. He was, I guess he was, his people. I don't even really know how far away he went from his people. How far did he go to Egypt? Joseph, when he was sent to the land of Egypt. Pretty good ways, isn't it? Yeah, he went a pretty good ways. So he was away from his people and found favor amongst other people. Because he was faithful to the Lord. He was faithful to God. He was faithful to do those things, and they all seen him. That's why earlier when I said, he found faithful by the jailer, and all the other prisoners and the jailer noticed the way he was, you notice those things. You notice how someone comes into your house. You notice how someone comes into your life. You notice how someone talks about the Lord. Are they passionate about the Lord? Or are they just up there going through the motions? Going through the motions. And one of the things that, and I don't know, I tell her, I ask her. She's always my go-to. How was that one? How was that? Everyone else, not to take anything away from any of you guys, all your other guys to come up, give me a hug, give me a handshake, and say that was the best sermon, that was the best class, whatever I've ever heard. And unless my wife says that was a good one, that's when I know. That's my, you know what I mean? That's my go-to right there. In my being, I guess, the best I can at be, for the Lord. Do you see those things? You see people that have passion. Arthur and Robert. One of my favorite ones to watch. I don't know if you've seen Clint Sinclair. He is, he's one of my favorite ones because the way he preaches. Junior, when he's preaching hard, I didn't know what hard preaching meant until I was around Junior and up at Moore and everything. He was telling me right there when he was preaching hard, and it wasn't that hard. But I know what he means. Those kind. You see that passion in the Lord. You see things. So they seen it. They seen that the Lord was finding favor on him. So that's why he got to go do this, because do his Potiphar's business, because Potiphar seen the Lord had favor on him and whatever he touched, right? So if he was over all of my business, then I'm going to find favor through this Lord. I'm going to find favor through Joseph. Those kind of things. You notice those people. You migrate to those people, I hope. I hope, you want to be like those people. Looks because those people are giving 100% that day, right? Those people are the ones giving, like I told my team, give me 100% this play. You don't got to be first, just don't be last. Because if you're giving me 100%, you're going. That's what those kind of people. That's what Joseph, Clint, Junior, Arthur, people like that. Sometimes still, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I don't read enough. I don't watch enough of my Dr. Charles Stanley, Intense Ministry. I love that dude. I love that guy. And I feel like we were just watching him this morning before we came. His little daily devotions or whatever. I get I subscribe to those things, and I get those little things on my phone, and I listen to him. I love that guy. Those people, those are the ones I want to model. Those are the ones giving 100% that day for the Lord. Those are the ones you want to be around because he's finding favor in the Lord. What he's talking about, the Lord's in what he's talking about. That's the kind I want to be. I don't want to go through the motions. I want to be like Joseph, where they see me. They see the Lord finding favor on me, and I feel like he has. I feel like he's found favor on me from how I used to be to where I am now because I have my wife and my kids and a good job. I have, things that are more favorable in my life than I used to. Drugs, alcohol, guns, late nights, jail, probation. The list goes on and on and on and on and on, and because of the same grace and the same love that the Lord gave to Joseph, he gave to me in a different situation, a different way. Maybe I'm not, have to be a slave. My family didn't send me, thousands of miles or more away, but I did it to myself. I became a slave to those demons. I sent myself away when I had to go away for a year and a half. I was gone, just like, I had been sent off to Egypt. I can plug these stories in. Are you giving your 100%, like Joseph? Is people seeing you stay faithful to the Lord in the trials that you're going through? Because we all go through things. We all go through whatever it is. I may think what you're going through ain't as bad as mine, and you may think what you're going through ain't as bad as mine. Everyone's is the worst because it's ours, right? And that's okay. Give it to the Lord. Are you living your life for the Lord? Are you giving those things to the Lord? Do you have faith in the Lord that he's going to take care of those things? Like I said, these little trials, these little things, they're not going to last forever. They're not going to be here for the rest of your time here. They're only going to be here long enough for the God to work these things out to get to the next phase, right? And eventually Joseph got to go home. He gets to go home to his father, to his homeland, to his people. See, he went through these things, and God showed him favor, and he worked this out, and he worked this out, and he worked this out, and eventually he got to go home, and his life was better than when he left. Right? He was just old sheep herder. And when he come back, he has all this. He takes, he's able to give his family all the food and has all this or that, possessions. His life was better because of the trials, the tribulations, the faith he kept with the Lord got him through those things. So keep your faith. No matter what Joseph went through, no matter where he was at, slave or prison, he still had faith. Favor was shown to him, and favor was seen being shown to him until he made it home. So that's kind of what I had on my kind of today. Like I said, I'll get the curriculum and we can pick back up, or if you guys want to keep going like this, it don't matter to me. I'm just happy to be here. You online, if you have anything to say or, prayer requests or anything, we're about to start service, send those in. Be sure to stick around here for service. Brother Arthur Tautney is going to be bringing a message this morning. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll go ahead and close with a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for this opportunity this morning, Lord, to come and to speak on your word, Lord, maybe to minister to those that are here, those that are watching online, Lord, maybe those that couldn't be here or couldn't watch, Lord. Maybe we just catch it later or minister to them later somehow, some way, Lord. You know what they're going through. I ask, God, that you do that for them. You handle whatever it is, Lord, that they're going through. Give us a good message here this morning, Lord. Let those that are still on their way reach church safely. Lord, be with my brother here as he brings the message. Be with all of our preachers and everyone out there, Lord, that's bringing the word. Lord, help us to stand true and fight the good fight. All these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.